Hey guys, Josh, Happy Little Landscapes here. Today we're going to do a commission piece. It's out of the scene from the Goonies where they have these mountains. The pirate ship kind of sails out there at the end of the movie. I'm going to show you how to paint this piece, what kind of colors we need to get, and what brushes we'll be using. So let's do it, just like this. Hey guys, Josh with Happy Little Landscapes here. Today we're going to do a scene out of the Goonies. It's a commission piece that someone had requested from me that they took in Oregon, where you have the three little mountains. We're going to have a big tree right here. And it's that scene where, you know, the pirate ship kind of sails out in the Goonies at the end of the movie. So, a couple little mountains, little ocean, little trees, bushes here. I'll show you a picture of it now. Alright, show you what we have today. We have sap green, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, midnight black, titanium white, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and cadmium yellow. So, on the picture that they sent me, it was just a plain blue sky, no clouds or anything. So what I'm going to do is kind of brighten it up and make one of my kind of signature dramatic sort of skies. A couple wispy clouds. So let's get started. What we'll do, go on a little bit of Indian yellow on the 1-inch brush, 1-inch Bob Ross brush, just a little bit. And our horizon is going to be about here in this. So we're going to want to start a lot lower than we normally do with our paintings. Let's get our easel in there. Get our canvas secured in the easel here. Okay. So I'm trying to stay out of your guys' way as much as possible and show you kind of tips and tricks on how I do it. So let's do this, and we'll start out and we'll go, you know, a little bit of Indian yellow down here where the sunset is. Give me a nice sunsetty sky. Real yellow. There we go. Nice little sunset. Like that, a little bit of cadmium yellow, brighten it up a bit. There we go. And just kind of make crisscross strokes like Bob Ross does. We're not really trying to blend it in right now. We're just putting some color in, just blocking some color in. A little bit of the Indian yellow, the yellow ochre. With that little bit of kind of an arc shape over the top of it here. Then we'll go into the alizarin crimson, all without washing the brush. All without the brush wash. Go into the crimson, make a little bit of purpley sky. Up here, it doesn't very much matter what you do. Let's see, let's get a little bit more, get a little darker in some spots. And then all this crimson we're going to mix with the yellow, so don't worry about that. What we're going to do now is, so we don't go green in our sky, is wash our brush. We use liquid mineral spirits into the cup, shake off the excess into a trash can, and then I've got a little beater bucket with a golf ball basket down at the bottom. Found it in my garage, seems to work perfect for me. So they sell stuff specifically for, you know, little racks to put in the bottom of the bucket, but I'm a painter on a budget, so found that in my garage. It's been working perfectly. All right, we'll go into the phthalo blue now. All you need is a little bit, because this stuff is very strong, the phthalo blue. Up in the corner, come all the way across. A little darker up here. There we go. Notice I've left a little buffer of white underneath, because this is all, we're going to lose, you know, a lot of room. When you start mixing it, your red and your yellows will all kind of get a little bit smaller than where we started with. So, straight from the phthalo blue into the midnight black, and just right over the top of the blue that you just did. Just make it nice and dark. Like that. Now, we should be able to blend it, and it'll start to look beautiful. So just with the Bob Ross 2-inch brush, we're just going to crisscross back and forth and just start blending all those colors together. Some down, some up. Bring them down, bring them up. And then we'll see what it looks like. See what else we need to add. Go. Now I don't want to get that yellow mixed with my blue, right? So we're going to wash off the brush again before we go into our darker colors. Beat the devil out of it like Bob does, right? Make sure it's dry on a paper towel. then we'll come up here into our darkest area. We'll blend these together. And then we'll just start bringing it down. And whatever blue comes down, let it come down and mix with that alizarin crimson. And bam, we got a pretty wicked looking sky there. Let's see if we can make it even more colorful. Wash off our old 1-inch brush again. You want to make sure it's dry. You don't want to go up there with the paint thinner on the brush or you just start swiping everything all over the place. Get a bit more yellow. Just kind of mix them. They don't have to be the same. They don't have to. Oh, there we go. Drop a couple of floaters. Now, if you blended your colors well enough, then the blues won't mix with the yellows. And you can sort of see we've covered over a canvas that had just some acrylic paint on it that my daughter had used, but I'm starting to run out of materials, so got to gotta use what we can use. Actually, don't really like that yellow that much. We're gonna go much darker into the crimson, see if we can't cover up some of that stuff. Tell we're pushing very hard on the canvas. You can take some midnight black. Come in here, just lightly throw in some black here and there and here, there and here. Let's figure it out. See where it goes. That's a kind of a cool looking sky. So I don't want to. Again, don't want to change my colors, so we're going to wash the brush. And then we'll just start mixing again. Now, once you come up into your blue, you don't want to go back down into the yellow. Remember that. Remember that. It's going to irritate you. A little bit of black right in the corners. Just straight up black. Make a mess. And then just very lightly blend it out. We want the corners to be a little darker than the rest. Okay. Like that. This back and forth, all the way across. See if we can even drop some of that down the bottom here. Alright, that's not even as dark as I want it to be, so we're going to go even more black up here. Even more, until it looks how you want it to look. Doesn't have to look like mine. You may put yours on thicker than I put mine on, so you might not have to add this extra last little bit of black. But again, it doesn't have to look the same. It's your painting. You're just kind of following my techniques to see where they get you, right? So, again, we'll go over the whole thing. I think that's a cool looking sky, actually. That is a cool looking sky. Alright, now we'll wash off the old 2-inch brush again. It's my favorite part, washing the brush. You just got to beat the devil out of it. Very clean. Okay. Might as well do the 1-inch brush while we're doing it. Alright. Dry those off, and let's see what we're going to do here. If our ocean is going to be here, let's do a little bit of that. We'll take some blue, both sides of our 1-inch brush, and we're just going to pull in our ocean from the side here. Just throw some blue down there. Go all the way to the bottom, doesn't matter. Just want it a little straight. This side on the right is going to be covered up, so you don't have to worry about that. And just drop in, just pull as straight sideways as you can for right now. We're not trying to make any waves. Just going across. There we go. Be a couple waves in the front here, but nothing like a crazy Bob Ross wave. These are some far off waves. Okay. That bit. Looks like a pretty wicked sunset sky, actually. Turned out better than I thought it would. Alright. Got our water in there. Now we're going to want to come... Our mountain's going to come a little bit down below our water line. So we got to keep that back there. Nice and straight and dark back here. As straight as you can make it. Now we all know that water is not always just blue, so we'll put some black in there and then blend that in, and it'll give it some color. Maybe a little bit of red, alizarin crimson. All right, do that. A bit of blue, a little bit of crimson, and that's just going to provide some shadows for us and stuff. Again, doesn't need to look neat. The water is so far off in this painting that you're not really going to see. We're going to have a big bush that covers up here, a lot of bushes on the bottom, and then this gigantic tree on the side. So our main focal point is this area right here. We're going to have that big foreground tree, but we want people to look right here. So what we might do, see if we can't brighten it up where we think our sun is going to set, right? A little bit of yellow in there. Like that. Indian yellow. Just right down. You don't want to touch the yellows and the blues together, though. That's something you do not want to do. Now, see if we can't get our filbert brush here. So far we've used the 1-inch brush, the 2-inch brush. Now we're going to use the filbert brush. We're going to use this for the tree also. And probably use, let's see, probably use a little liner brush like this to make the tree branches, and then maybe one fan brush. Could be a size 4, size 8, doesn't matter. Whatever you got, that's what we will use, right? So let's see if we can't make our little sun back here. Now, I showed you guys on one of my other videos how to make a sun with a filbert brush. Very easy. You don't have to draw a perfect circle. The brush will almost do it for you. So if you start, push it almost fully against the canvas, and then start to rotate, you'll watch the brushes, the bristles move. And depending on the amount of pressure that you put, you can almost get a perfect circle. I want it a little bit darker, so we're going to do it again with a little bit more paint. Try to fill in the inside there. And spin and spin and spin and spin. Don't worry if it gets bigger. You just want to kind of have that little almost perfect circle there. Now we're going to go into the cadmium yellow and see if we can't kind of mix those two together. You can make it thick, you can make it blended thin. I kind of want to do this one thick, just so it stands out, nice and textured. And because we've mixed those two colors together, that you get this like blended look that's just awesome. Just like that. Take away all of our color and show that underneath. This. And you just kind of fill in that spot that we made, right? Again, doesn't have to look perfect. A lot of people can't do a perfect circle. Shit, I can't do a perfect circle. But you just want to make it look like you want it to look. Don't cover up all the yellow ochre. Leave some of the yellow ochre to shine through there. And then just kind of coat it on with your cadmium yellow until it's as yellow as you want it to be. And I like that. That is a cool looking sun. Okay, let's wash off the old filbert. You can do that on a paper towel. You can hit it on your beater rack or your beater bucket or whatever. Shoot, let's just leave it like that. Call it done. It's not a bad thing right there. Okay, so she said, the client said she wanted some wispy clouds. So, in my mind, we're gonna start over here maybe, bring them all the way back. Same thing, maybe do another one over here. So she didn't really want a dark stormy sky like I like to do with the clouds. So what we'll do is just almost pure titanium white. And what brush are we gonna use? Let's use the 1-inch brush. Actually, let's use the knife. I'll show you guys how to use the knife. But we're gonna blend with the 1-inch brush. So make sure your 1-inch brush is clean. And then we're gonna get the knife. I use a small knife. You can use the big one. The plastic ones work fine too. These are the Bob Ross sets. I'm gonna pull out our white, nice and flat. You can see my nasty palette. And then just grab a nice little roll of it. And what we'll do is come up and we're gonna kind of push hard against the canvas and leave a ridge where we want our cloud to be, right? So like this, and it doesn't much matter what you do. Doesn't much matter. Clouds are not the same shape. There's no specific shape for a cloud, so don't worry about what it looks like. You can always change it. So once you've made a mess, you take your 1-inch brush, kind of angle it down against the canvas. So we're just using the top corner of it, and then we're just going to lightly blend. You don't want to do this too heavy, or you'll just blend all this white away and it won't be there anymore. You can go on the bottom, you can go on the top. Doesn't very much matter. Like that, and I do it just making little circles. Just little circles. Just like that. Shoot, you can even take, if you don't have a knife, you can just take some of that right on your 1-inch brush and just, you know, just make a mess. It doesn't matter where you put it. You just make a mess. And then you go back in and just little circles till you blend it out. Don't want to blend it all the way. You want to leave some spots thicker, some spots thinner. There we go. Sure, you can even take some little touch of crimson, throw it in there every so often, maybe a little bit of blue. And just give it these cool little shadows. There's some wispy clouds off in the distance. Just until you think it looks like it should. Don't have to take too much time on them. And then we'll go straight up, across the whole thing, straight sideways. And now we have these very wispy, far off clouds. Just like so. Now what we'll do is come in with a little bit of our black, a little bit of our white. So we have a grayish, bluish mixture. Throw some alizarin crimson in there, why not? Just a little bit. I'm gonna throw that one right underneath here. Cover over our sun just a little bit, like it's creeping up out of those clouds. And we're just making this up as we go along. There's no, the picture that she sent me doesn't look anything, just a nice clear blue sky, no clouds even. But I don't like doing blue skies. I like doing dramatic skies. So Back again, we'll swipe up. And again, she didn't want these very pronounced, just far off clouds in the distance. So you don't really have to do a lot with those. You don't have to do a lot of shading. You don't have to do a lot of depth or anything. And you just keep adding and layers and layers. You can go up, you can go down, doesn't matter. Shit, we'll do both of them, go up and down. All over the damn thing. Does not matter. Clouds are just a big mess of water up in the sky. Do another one over here, up in the top. Like that, just kind of mush it on there. Like so. Up here. And what we do with this brush, we're just kind of lifting just to kind of fluff it, and then just very lightly, barely even hear the brush go across the canvas. Just very lightly. All right. That looks pretty freaking sweet. So we'll put another one down in here, and we'll come from this side. Just like a stairway to heaven almost. And we'll come in, mix that up. Come down, come up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. All right. Swipe up. Now you notice if it's too thick in some places, you come back in. A couple more circles. And now it's not so thick. Just like that. I'd say that is pretty wicked. So, but in my mind, if the cloud is in front of the sun, it's going to have a little bit of shadow on the bottom of it, right? So we'll just take the littlest bit of black, go in. You can see how quickly, if you use a small bit of paint, how quickly it disappears. So you don't need a lot, just a little. Remember, don't come over here and hit your sun if it's nice and thick. You're gonna drag it all over the place, almost like I did. There we go. Okay, now I'd say that's pretty wicked, man. That is pretty wicked. Again, you don't have to use just white. You can use yellow, especially with your shadowing. You can use brown. You can use black or blue or yellow or, you know, yellow ochre. You just give it these cool little colors that people will pick up. They'll see the main picture from the, you know, the distance and go, wow, that's awesome. But the closer they look, they'll see where we've hidden our little bits of color in our clouds, right? It's not just a plain white cloud up there. So we just did yellow ochre, which, why not, we'll do some Van Dyke brown, right? You're like, oh, why would you put brown in the sky? Don't do that. Don't put brown, it's never gonna look right. Oh, you can't do brown, oh no, not the brown, oh no. Just trust me. Again, since we're putting the smallest amount of paint on, you just barely wanna touch it, just barely. Push too hard and it's gonna blend away. Okay, and then if you don't like it, you don't like the color, the shadow color you chose, just keep doing it until it disappears. Start over with your white, and then you'll be all good. Until you find the color that works good for you. All right, so we've hidden some yellows. Why not do a little bit of Indian yellow too? We'll put that up here. Maybe underneath this guy. I'm just laying it on with a knife and then just coming back in and very, very, very lightly, just disturbing it, not even blending it away, just kind of mushing it a bit so it doesn't stick out. It's not thick. Like our sun, I had to lay on so thick to get that yellow to kind of pop away from this darker sky. But in the clouds, you don't want it so thick. So what else can we do? We'll do some blue maybe. Put the blue ones up underneath here. Blend it out. And again, if you just disturb it, it'll look like a cool shadow underneath. Take a little bit of black up under this one. And a lot of the times, I'm doing it backwards this time because the clouds are so wispy. If you want big dramatic clouds, go check out my other video where we do the shadows first. You lay on the shadows, your blacks or your blues or your reds or your yellows, and then you come back in and just highlight with the white. But in this instance, She just wanted some nice wispy far off clouds that kind of held the sunset color. So I'd say that's pretty good if you ask me. Now, I don't know about this sun. So I'm just trying to blend the sun a little bit more. There we go. Every time I touch it, I take a little bit of paint away, and then that reveals the color underneath that we're trying to cover. So you gotta be careful. You know what? Just to make that stick up there, we're gonna thin it down a little bit with some liquid white. Just thin it down just a bit. Shoot, we can even just put some straight old liquid white on there. That'll mix with that yellow. Hardest part about wet on wet to me is the not being able to rest your hand on the canvas like a pencil drawer would. There we go. Again, don't over mix it. You don't want to over mix it. You don't want it to be all the same yellow. You want to have some depth in there with the different colors. Okay, so our waves, they're going to come in here like this. They're actually pretty straight. We got the shoreline like down here. We're up on top of this hill, kind of looking off into the distance. So what we'll do is maybe take a bit of that yellow with the liquid white and just make the little indication of our sun in the water here. Just a little line, but most of it will be covered up, but you know, why not? Why not? Gotta do the reflection. Just like that. Make a line like it's coming down to us, right? And like I said, a lot of it'll be covered up. So if you don't like it, don't worry. You can always swipe it across. And now that we're in our water, if you swipe your yellow into the blue and it goes green, that's fine. The ocean's green. Every so often. All right, let me clean my brushes again. We'll take a step back and see where we're at. There we go. You can even swipe over that just like so. Go back the other way. Cool thing about oils is you can move it. You can push hard and slide that paint over and slide it back this way until you kind of get the effect that you want. All right. There we go. Clean this one off. That is a good looking painting right there, guys. What we'll do to make those, we'll make up our mixture of red and, alizarin crimson, midnight black, and a little bit of the phthalo blue that we have. Really want to mix them up good. You don't want the marble effect for right now. And then what I like to do to throw everybody off is throw in a little bit of the dark sienna, and you get this nice dark mountainy color. Probably didn't make enough because I never make enough, but that's okay. All right, so again, just like Bob, we're gonna get a little roll, and our mountains, literally, this one literally looks like a pyramid in the photo. So we'll go like this, come up. There is no sun in our picture, so we kind of have to decide how far we come up with our mountain. It's not the focal point. There we go. What we'll do is we'll grab our 1-inch brush, just kind of pull that guy down. Just like that, drop them into our water. And then we'll just blend it out. We'll come back in and make our water line in a bit. Come back, the next one's about right in the middle, a little bit lower, not like a pyramid shape. So it's more like this. Come up, little bouncies. We're gonna make a dip. come up again. Just round kind of thing like that, go down. Then we just scrape down all this paint. Kind of fill it back in the spots that were a little bit less than the others. Like so, come back in. And we don't want to pull it too far, and you don't want to mess with your top edge, right? You want to leave your top edge. You don't want to have your bristle strokes popping up out of your top edge, right? Which may take some practice, and then you have, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And these are just going to be little silhouettes off in the distance. Our main focal point is going to be the trees. Like so, we'll put some water line around that guy in a bit. And then the next mountain kind of comes up a little bit more, almost off the edge of the canvas. So, hope you left some room. All right, we'll come back up here. Maybe put this guy in front of that guy. Remember to keep your water line. We want a little bit of water line according to our picture there. And we'll come up a little bit higher, but we'll bring this guy down in front. Like that. You don't need a lot of paint. And he comes off, but he doesn't go all the way off the canvas, so don't bring him all the way down. He kind of comes down like this. We want to see a little bit of our sky through our trees that are going to be covering over here. If you can get enough and it's too light, come back, get a little bit more. Just kind of mush it in there. And you can blend it out to how you want it to look. Alright, just like so. Down like this. There we go. And like I said, don't worry if you get a little bit of dark color in your water. You want some shadows in there. It's not just pure bright blue ocean, right? Most of the time when you look at the ocean at a distance, it's black. You can't even decipher anything. Okay, so our tree branch is going to come right from there. And this thing come up over here. Got a little bit of ocean there. So we want our waves to be about right there. All right, what I'm gonna do now is take the rest of that, because the bottom corner of our painting is real dark. So we'll take the rest of that and just kind of bring it down in front of here and just blend it together. Just like that. So we'll just keep working at it until you like it. Doesn't matter what I like. Painting's got to be what you like. All right, now, in order to make these waves, they're not really pronounced. Again, we're really far in the distance, but there's a line of wave, maybe about here, and then the next one down, and then the next one down. But by that time, we'll be into our bushes anyway. So we're gonna do now, we're gonna take the littlest swipe of liquid white, just swipe it across so we don't make too big of a water line. And we're just gonna come in, maybe come down a little like that. Just give these something to play off of. And if you don't like them, you can always swipe it away. Liquid white is very easy to fix. What I like to do to make these far off ones look far off is put that white there and then just swipe over the lightest bit, and that'll give you this far off water line that's not so pronounced like the ones up close are going to be. A couple waves on the mountains. A wave over here. Bring it down. And like I said, we don't want it to be super pronounced, so we're going to swipe it just lightly. Light swipe, and you want them to be pretty straight. Again, that's not the focal point of our painting, so you don't have to worry about those water lines. But again, you do want them straight for your eye. See, look, we didn't like that one. We'll just blend it away. Disappears, right? this more. Just want it to be straight. This is where straight line will pay off. And just swipe it across. This is all far off in the distance. Put some underneath this guy. There we go. Far off in the distance. Now, after taking a step back and looking at it, I want a little bit more of my little sun reflection here. So the closer it gets to us, the smaller it gets, right? I want it to be nice and big underneath the sun. And if it starts going green or not as yellow as you want, just get a little bit of the liquid white, drop it on top. Don't cover up all your yellow bits, right? There we go. That looks good. We'll swipe over that. Like so. Now, come in with those waves in the front, and then we'll do our trees, and shoot, we'll be done. Nice, quick, easy little one today. So, for our waves, let's see what this looks like. If I do a little bit of just pure titanium white, and we come in like, who knows if the water is coming this way. We'll just push hard on it. Just push hard. Too thick right here in some spots. And then again, the waves are not our focal point, so we're kind of swiping over them to kind of blur them into the background. You know what I mean? Just kind of blur them into the background. Shoot, do some more up here. Just like that. I like that. Come across. And again, we're just very lightly swiping across to make these waves. Maybe these ones kind of come forward a little bit. They don't have to be perfect, because we're not focusing on them. They're in the distance. Right, so we'll leave them out there in the distance, just like that. All right. Now what we'll do, we'll wash our stuff here. And then we'll put in our gigantic trees. It's gonna go from the top to the bottom of the canvas, so. And because these mountains are silhouettes, I'm not even going to put anything on them. They look good to me. Look good to me. All right, so down the bottom. Damn, that looks nice. I like that. I really like that. I like that. That looks good. See what the fan brush will do. Give it a little bit of foamy look. If we just take the fan brush and just kind of tap it against the waves. Just not all of them. And not all over. You just want to sparingly. The waves aren't always crashing the same in every spot, right? Just so lightly. I mean, even lighter than before. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll make up a bit of our tree color here, which is going to be the same as the mountain. little bit of black, a little bit of blue, a little bit of red. And we need a lot of paint for this one because we got a lot of bushes and a lot of foliage to fill up. So we'll mix it up. Try not to get my hand covered in paint. Like so. Mix, mix, mix. You don't want it to be marbled. You want it to be a nice dark black, almost black looking color. Then we're going to take our fan brush here. And I like to do it, you know, maybe differently than other people, but I'm going to hold it kind of straight up almost and just start popping in, almost like Bob does those far off trees and stuff. And you can turn it and rotate it and, you know, just make a mess. That's all we want to do. All we want to do is make a mess. I'm going to come up here, one up in the front. And it's just got to look like a mess of dark color up here. And then when we add our green highlights, you'll be able to tell what the heck we're doing, right? For right now, I'm just making it look gross. Like so. And then down the bottom here, you can do just mainly Van Dyke brown or part of our color. You just want to make it dark. Just be dark. Just a nice little quick easy one for you guys. Take some of the Van Dyke brown, smash it on there just so it gives a difference in color from the. You don't want to ruin your shape of your bushes though, so don't go too far. Too far off the edge, man. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge, right? We're trying not to lose our head. Ha 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 ha. I'm an idiot. All right, just a couple little more. All right, just a mess at the bottom. You can almost throw a freaking palm tree in here. It would look awesome. Okay, let's see. Far off, cloudy clouds there. All right, we've got our mess of bushes at the bottom there. Let's come in with our little liner brush, a little bit of paint thinner. Just right into our Van Dyke brown. About 3 dips worth. Dip in and then just kind of mix in. You want it thin enough that it'll almost run off of your palette. If you don't hold your palette straight, it'll run away. And then kind of rotate the brush. I'm doing there. Rotate it as you pull through. Make a nice sharp tip on there. And then we'll come up and just start making some tree branches. Right? Little sticks and stuff. Just little things that poke out here and there and here. Just make a little sticky sticks. Sticky stickertons. Stick here, stick there. Stick me, stick you. Again, yours does not have to look like mine. It's got to look like yours. I'm just trying to teach you a couple techniques, maybe a couple brushes, maybe doing the clouds with a knife that you might not have thought of before or that you don't regularly do. Gives it a pretty cool look. I don't want too many little sticky sticks down in here because they're not very pronounced in the picture. And if we're going to try to stay close to the picture, I don't want too many of those in there. Up into our waves. Just a little guy. It starts looking so good, I mean, you can fill up your whole damn canvas with them and then you'll be upset. Alright. So we got that. Got the clouds. It looks awesome. Just for my mind, I want to put a little little bit of black right here, just so we can tell that this mountain comes in front of that mountain. All right, now our little sticky stickertons. Again, they start looking so good. You want to do them, you know, more and more and more, and then you end up not liking it after you've done 1,000 of them. And like, shit, I should have just stopped. Should have stopped when I had the chance. Now you want to find the smallest tipped brush. I even modified this. I cut about half of the bristles out of it just to make it the teeniest little tip. And that way you don't have these huge sticks in the front. They're just the little teeny guys. All right, looks good enough to me. Now, since we didn't do that, what we'll do is use our filbert brush for this tree. So get your filbert brush back out. And we want to come through the same bit of brown, black, blue mix that we made for our mountains and stuff in the back. Even a bit more, bit of that, bit of that, bit of that. Just mix them up enough. Right there. Just want a nice dark brown color. Again, there's not a lot of, there won't even be any wood grain to this tree because it's a silhouette. It's so, you know, the focus is on the sun, so this is just going to be dark. Now, our tree, I think in the peak of the trunk is about right here, and then you start branching off into these other little things, and then you got branches all over the damn thing. So what I thought about doing, and we'll see what it looks like, is stick it right here. Just like that. Now, come down and push harder the more and more you come down until you're off the canvas. We want our trunk thicker down here than we do up top. Like I said, there's not a lot of wood grain in it. And that's because it's a silhouette. But with the blacks and the browns, and you're picking up the white and mixing with the blue and everything else, you're gonna get these cool little wood grain patterns. Don't overdo it, don't over mix it, because they look awesome. And then it takes one swipe and you've kind of blended all that wood grain away. Now, it kind of comes up like this. We're just using the very tip because I don't want to switch brushes right now. So the very tip of it, it comes around here, whatever. There's another one, maybe it comes around the back. And then this guy goes off to the side. And then there's going to be tons and tons and tons of little miniature branches that we're going to fill in all that space with. So we'll make them a little bit darker, a little bit thicker. And it's going to go all the way to the top of our canvas, this tree. Now, we've got a couple that come straight off the side, and they extend pretty far. But remember, you want your branch to be thicker at the bottom, at the, you know, where it meets the tree than it is at the end. Don't want to have it too all crazy. Got another one that comes off here. See that? How I went thin and then thick? Now this has to be thicker. Otherwise it'll just look strange. All right, we got another one coming off here. Don't make them the same. Don't do the same, you know, on the same line so they're just like a ladder. I don't want to do that. Do another one here. And then we're going to come back in with our liner brush and give them a lot more detail. So don't worry, we're just kind of putting in the thick bits of the trunk right now. We got one section that comes out, that goes up a little bit, and then we're going to have a big bunch of tree and shit that comes out, some leaves and stuff comes off of that one. Okay. We got a few more little tiny suckers that all come off there. And let's do one back off this side. a couple more. Again, this tree has so many little branches on it that you could be here for hours just playing with the damn branches. Like that. Put that one behind there. I mean, shoot, there are tons and tons and tons of little sticks on this tree. So we're gonna be a while with our liner brush here. You're gonna need a lot of paint thinner. Make it really thin because we want our brush to slide over all these other things and make this real sharp. Make these real sharp little tree points, right? Like that. Remember, you don't want them to be a straight line. There's no tree with a straight branch. Going down, going up. Doesn't matter. Unless you're trying to copy a picture, then it matters. Which we're trying to do. Like that. Shoot, we can make them go down, we'll wrap around. Like I said, there's going to be tons of them. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. And then we'll come back in with our little foliage and wrap it all up. Again, you want just the littlest, thinnest brush you have. Smallest little sucker, because if you start making them too big, then you're gonna have these big thick branches at the ends where, you know, they aren't realistic like that. If you start running out of paint thinner, go back in, get more. Don't push harder. You're gonna make, you know, your branches much thicker. Just barely want to touch. There we go. Like so. A couple little shwips and schwaps and nice old ugly gnarly ass tree. What we're trying to go for. Old gnarly tree that's lost a lot of limbs. A lot of foliage. That wicked wind on the coast of Washington. There we go. Kind of blows so hard that the trees can't even grow like they want to. Fill that in there. There we go. Now we'll come off with this guy. A couple little branches on him. Fill them in like that, and like I said, you take as much time on yours as you want. Does not have to look like mine. If you want to be done with your branches, you can be. Totally up to you. But for me, there's got to be tons of little branches coming off of this thing. Go. And a lot of these will probably get covered up by our foliage, but we want them there for our mind, right? If I don't see it there, it's hard for me to imagine what's coming next in my paintings. Like that. Come up off of this guy. You can see how easily the paint flows if you have enough paint thinner. If you don't, come back. A couple more dabs into the cup, right? Mix into that chunk of paint we got there so it's nice and thin. And then spin and drag as you pull it out, right? And that way, you get this sharp little point on the edge of your brush. Like so. Take a look at what my tree is supposed to look like here. Oh yeah. So these ones, we want like so many little branches, almost too many. Almost too many branches. And we got this big sucker. Come up here. And don't worry about, you know, if you don't think you got enough or whatever, it's going to be covered up by this. We're going to mush a bunch of leaves onto it, okay? So you decide when you have enough. Like that. For me, this sucker does not have enough yet. Again, up at the top is going to be covered by a bunch of leaves, so we just want to fill in these spaces that aren't going to be covered so we can see we've got a lot of branches in there. It's funny, I always make these tutorials and I act like I know what I'm going to paint. We're just like, I've got a picture in front of me, never painted it before. We're just kind of making it up and using the techniques that we've learned, right? And remembering, hey, I did this that one time and it looked pretty cool, so let's try that here, or, you know, whatever. I tend to find a lot of my branches are on the same side of the log. I'm like, oh, this looks good. And you look on this side, it's all bare. So you gotta remember in your mind's eye, here we go. Put a couple on the bottom side, right? There we go. This. There's going to be so many little branches up here. Just got to look full. Just got to look full. Should I even like it like that? And leave it bare like a winter scene. Just a bare old winter. Here we go. Alright, I like that. Like that. And then every so often I make a couple little wiggles. Little wiggles gives you the effect of bark. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to connect. They can be odd shapes, odd patterns. It just gives you this kind of cool wood bark look. When those people go to look at your painting for the details, the ones that appreciate it and are looking to find details, they're going to notice that bark. You'll be like, oh, your tree bark is so realistic. You'll be like, oh, thanks. Learned it from Happy Little Landscapes, right? Maybe one day. I see these two, all the posts in the rooms. Oh, I followed MJS or Kevin Hill. Maybe one day they'll say I followed Happy Little Landscapes. Did this tutorial, blah, blah, blah. Maybe one day we can dream, right? We can dream. You know what? There is one big log down here that kind of comes off the tree and goes this way. So let's put him in there. One big log. Couple little branches off of him. Okay, that looks like a good enough tree to me. All right, I lied. More branches, more branches, more branches. Maybe I'll time lapse this bit so you guys don't have to sit here and listen to my nonsense all the time. Go. Again. Making a gnarly old nasty looking sticky tree, right? Bunch of twigs. Some of them cross over each other. Some don't. Maybe they go around the side of the canvas. This big branch over here. There we go. And like I said, you make as many or as little as you want. It's your painting. I'm just showing you how and what brushes and how much paint thinner and how much to use and this, that, and the other. It's your painting. So if you don't want it to have this many sticks, stop. There is no one forcing you to keep making more. So if you're done, take a break, wash your brush, get ready for the next bit that's coming. There we go. I like it. Even with this brush that I modified, it's still hard to get those little teeny tiny sticks in there. And this part of our picture is very full of little teeny tiny twigs. The little twigs. It's little twigs. Okay, there we go. All right, now we'll come back in and yeah, I like that. Come back in with our old filbert brush again and pop in some of our foliage, right? Just like we did down here. Go underneath. Take some of that brown. You can mix the two browns together if you want, because we're going to highlight it with liquid white. Liquid white and sap green. Okay, so a little bit of black, a little bit of crimson. It doesn't matter, just so it's a dark color. I'm gonna come off this side, make a couple branchy branches. All right, this is why you don't want to cover up all of your sticks that you made. All right. I want to cover up all the sticks. If you don't have a filbert brush, you can use a fan brush. You can do whatever, totally up to you. Totally up to you what you use. Like that. I'm just trying to copy my picture here. You guys can put them wherever you want. Put them at the ends, put them, you know, doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter. Now the top is where we're going to want a bigger brush, otherwise we're going to be doing so many of these little bits. Again, if you don't like them, it's a little bit too late now. Let's see. You just kind of make a mess. It's, you know, people will figure out that it's supposed to be leaves. What I'll do is I'll just keep messing about with this. This brush, since we've already got it down, might as well just remember, we're not covering over all these. But the top is quite covered in the picture, so a couple of them coming off of here. But in this one, this branch is exposed, except through here. There we go. Like that. And again, you just make it until it looks like you want it to look. If you want a different look, you could use the fan brush like this. Give a little bit more leafy feel to it on the edges, right? Like that. You want the imperfections that make them look like leaves or spines of our tree branch or whatever. Right? That's not bad. I like that. Shit, right? There we go. Come in front of those, maybe. And then we'll just come back with our sap green and make it nice and dark. Now, in order to do that, I want to bring it out. Use a little bit of paint thinner, just a little bit. You don't want to have too much, or it'll get too runny on you. See what I mean here? Like just the corner, right? Just a little bit of paint thinner. And we'll come back in and we'll just kind of highlight these with the green, just so you have those different colors. Again, the client wanted it dark. She did not want a whole mess of bright color. I tried guys, I tried to get us a bright color one, but the client wanted it dark. So we're just kind of highlighting with the green. You don't want to cover up all of the shadow that we made, right? You want to do that. So leave some space, but you'll be able to tell that there's green and purple and all that shit there. All right, a little bit more paint thinner. Come up with our thing here and just kind of very lightly touch with your fan brush, just lightly. You don't want to smush the shape that you've already made, right? You just want to kind of add a little kiss of green on it. And again, you don't want to make it all green. You want to have some green, some brown, some black, some, you know, leave the spaces in there. Don't overdo it. That's what Bob always said, don't overdo it, and I always overdo it. So, I'm telling you, well, I throw my stuff everywhere. Don't overdo it. Because then you'll go, Josh, it didn't turn out like you said it would. And I'll look at it and say, well, shit, you put too much green, or you covered up all your, you know, your background base color. There we go. Oh, I love that. Oh, she's gonna be so happy. I hope. Again, we don't want to smush our branches or our foliage. We just want to touch it light enough for the green to stick. If your green does not stick to this brown, then your green is not thin enough. Add a little bit more paint thinner, come back in, and then just lightly touch over it, just to transfer a bit of that green color onto the tree. And that's literally it. That's it. That looks like the picture to me. It sure does. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this one. We'll put our signature on it, throw my little family flock of birds, and put it over to dry and wait for the client. In the meantime, I want to tell you guys to follow my page at Happy Little Landscapes. All right. My daughter watching bunked in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Kiki waka, kiki waka. For those of you who have kids. For those of you who don't, you're lucky. Alright, so where are we going to sign this sucker? I'll put it down here in the corner. And since it's nice and dark, I'll just use some straight up liquid white, since I always pull too much out anyway. Put my signature in. Go. A little bit more. Just like that. Now, no, none of my paintings is finished until it has my little family flock. So, in order to do that, let's get a little bit of paint thinner. Where are we going to put my birds today? Shoot, we'll put them. Let's see, if you don't have a yardstick, get yourself a yardstick to give you something to put your hand on. Alright, in every painting of mine, there's a, you know, my wife, my daughter, and myself. So, let's do that. Where are we going to put this guy? We'll put him up here, make him bigger, put him back here, make him smaller. Bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, up, down. Never know which way we're going to go. Screw it. Put him back here. Ah, can't decide, guys. Can't decide. Why don't we just make this one bigger? And we'll do that last one like a little bit further off distance, like they're coming in to see us, right? My daughter, my wife, myself, into every single painting. If it's got my signature on it and it doesn't have these birds, you got taken for a ride. Better call whoever sold it to you and get your money back. Alright. Well, guys, since we're finished, I'd like to tell you, if you like this painting, if you like my tutorial, follow my Facebook channel at Happy Landscape Art. You can follow me on Instagram at Happy Little Landscapes, or on YouTube at Happy Little Landscapes Oil Paintings by Josh Kirkham. I know it's a long name, but you'll be able to find it. I've got links on everything that'll take you every which way. You can check out my Etsy store. This one, unfortunately, will not be available since it's a commissioned piece and it's already been paid for. But I can always do another one. I can recreate any one of my paintings. It'll never be exactly the same, but you know, it'll at least look similar. I always see a few little things after I'm finished that I have to put back in. That just make the branches a little bit more pronounced. But I'd say that's a good painting, guys. Once again, follow me at Happy Little Landscapes and share this, share it with your friends, study it, paint it in front of your friends. They'll be like, wow, that's really awesome. And you're like, yeah, just don't tell them that you saw it on my page and you just like take all the credit. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, maybe eventually somebody will say, oh, you know, I'll be in the category of the MJs and the Kevin Hills and, you know, in my wildest dreams. Where the hell did I put that brush? Always seeing something. But yeah, if you like this, feel free to try it. Just tag me when you post it. I'd love to see if you can follow along, if you know what I need to do to become a better tutorialist or a better teacher. If I can explain anything a little better, you know, if you guys don't give me any feedback, then I don't know what to fix. So I hope to hear from you. I hope you like this one. And one more little dab of branch right here, and then we're going to be done. Done-zoed. Come on, bam, just like that. And that's it, guys. So we'll see you on the next painting. And yeah, take care.